What does Jesus look like? Imagine it. Picture it on your screen. Does this fit your vision? If this is right, why? I'd be surprised if this didn't actually match what you were thinking. There are no practical descriptions of Jesus in the Bible, save for some useless imagery. The book of Revelation includes John's vision, which describes, "And his feet were like unto burnt brass, his head, his hairs were white like wool, as white as snow." Yet Christians keep depicting him using imagery that children take to be true, but it's all false. They're brainwashing children to see Jesus as they want to see him, not having the courage to say, "I have no idea what he looked like, so why try and depict him at all? Perhaps that's the way it should be, like Allah." That leaves us to wonder, are there any contemporary paintings or statues of Jesus? That means paintings or statues of Jesus from the time that he was supposed to have lived. There are none. Really, none. The earliest paintings of Jesus appear some 300 years after he was supposedly born. The Good Shepherd, a fresco seen in the catacomb of Priscilla in Rome, dates from the 3rd century, right at the point in time when Christianity gets its start. But how can anyone say for sure who this is a painting of, or it's of any specific person? This appears in a cemetery in an imperial villa that belonged to Roman Emperor Constantine and is dated to the early 4th century. In 1312 AD, Emperor Constantine established Christianity as the state religion. Only then do we really start to see art depictions of Jesus appear. Do you see the tie-in there? Only once Christianity is declared as the religion of the day by the government do artisans start to create themed art and likenesses. And I use the word likeness very, very loosely. A likeness to what, I ask? This is the oldest surviving panel icon of Jesus. It can be found at the St. Catherine's Monastery on Mount Sinai. Did you notice anything there? Let's go back a bit. The painting of Jesus from Constantine's era to St. Catherine's Monastery. There is a distinct likeness. Jesus was reported to have lived at the same time as Augustus Caesar. A simple Google image search for Augustus Caesar reveals thousands of contemporary sculptures made during his reign. Hell, he even had a coin. The same search for Jesus provides us nothing but mirrored likenesses, nothing of Jesus specifically, just of other paintings of Jesus. Why is there no contemporary artwork for Jesus? Augustus Caesar, Tiberius, and even Gaius Julius Caesar, otherwise known as Caligula, each had countless examples of their likenesses made during their reigns. Going forward in time from the 4th century and Constantine's new Christian state, images follow two distinct themes: the Good Shepherd and the portraits with halos. The Good Shepherd matching the 3rd century theme. This one currently kept at the Vatican. Halos are somehow used to imprint divine nature. Even line drawings have halos. Only in the Renaissance do we see variations from these themes. Paintings later than the 5th century appear to start carrying forward similar traits. You might call it the Jesus look. And just like Santa Claus, the images all start to take on a common appearance, but remain a guess at best. From the 6th century, this orthodox icon painting wood palette still matches very early renderings of Jesus. They all do. By the 10th century, the look of Jesus had been cemented. The imperial gold mosaic from the 9th or 10th century, located in the Hagia Sophia in Constantinople, is likely one of the most famous tile mosaics in the world. Dating to the 12th century, at the Cathedral of Cefalù in Sicily, we have the Apse mosaic, the Christ Pantocrator. It's not too dissimilar from the painting by Henry Thomas Bostet of Jesus before his crucifixion. It was painted some 700 years later. Copies of copies. Through the Renaissance, as the Christian worldview became common through the power of the Vatican, there was an explosion of Jesus-related art. The quality of art improved and religious imagery was unavoidable. From 1308, the Temptation on the Mount. 1324, the Way to the Calvary. 1428, Masaccio's Trinity. 1490, Leonardo da Vinci's Last Supper painting in Milan. 1491, the Schatzbehalter, also the Last Supper. Christ the Redeemer, a marble sculpture by Michelangelo. It was finished in 1521. From about 1530, the life of Jesus Christ. 1565, Christ the Sheepgate. 1605, Esse Homo, Behold the Man, by Michelangelo Merisi. From approximately 1610, Esse Homo, Guido Reni. And also from the early 1600s, Christ crowned with thorns. Many of these images offer up a Caucasian version of Jesus. Did you know that Caesar Borgia, the son of Pope Alexander VI, is the likely model for the Jesus Christians worship today? In the late 1400s, Caesar befriended Leonardo da Vinci during his life, and it's da Vinci's portrait of Caesar that became the reference for the likeness of Jesus. In 1889, Hoffman completed Christ and the Rich Young Ruler, once more giving us that familiar-looking Jesus. I keep wondering, what reference did he use to paint the Jesus character in the painting? Christians simply appear to accept it and never question it. Even statues bear a resemblance to Jesus of lore. This one, at the Hertz Jesuit Church in Cologne, while it looks of antiquity, actually dates from 1902. The 1923 statue, Christ the Redeemer in Rio, even has the look. Through history, images such as the original painting titled Behold the Man, painted in 1910 by the artist Elias Garcia Martinez, embraced the classic Jesus look. Well, until it was touched up by Cecilia Jimenez. Now at least it looks like a completely different person, and it's truly no more incorrect than any of the other depictions of Jesus. By the way, Jimenez signed a royalty deal in 2013 to merchandise her revised version. Films even tried to meet the common interpretation of the Jesus look, just a more modern take. If Jesus was indeed a real person, why are there no paintings, tile mosaics, or sculptures of him made when he was alive? Likewise, no contemporary written accounts of Jesus. Surely, the man who could walk on water, heal lepers, and feed thousands with 5 loaves of bread and a couple of fish would have had enough influence in the world to have been recorded somehow in real time. Christian scholars often cite near-contemporary sources for Jesus, such as Thales, Tacitus, Merabar Serapion, and Phlegon. However, all of these references had been produced after Jesus was said to have lived, and each one unremarkably vague and open to wide interpretation. Recent research by Richard Carrier, David Fitzgerald, and Michael Polkovich points to the likelihood that Jesus never existed at all. Sadly, Christians may not even be aware of this research or just simply dismiss it. We know that Augustus Caesar was born on the 23rd of September, 63 BCE, and his successor Tiberius Claudius Nero on the 16th of November, 42 BCE. We do not dispute these dates, but what about Jesus? Jehovah's Witnesses say Jesus was born in 2 BCE. The Church of the Great God, 4 BCE. The Lamb and Lion Ministries claim 5 BCE, and GotQuestions.org has a range of 4 to 6 BCE. ReligiousTolerance.org states the best guess of most biblical scholars is that Jesus was born between 7 and 4 BCE. Recently, a new suggestion of 1 BCE has been put forth. How am I to believe what is said about Jesus when Christians and those who take the Bible as gospel, as truth, can't even agree on the year the God of Christianity was born? Christians may say, I feel Jesus in my heart, but that does nothing for me. I need more proof. A while ago, I mentioned a Google search for Jesus images, and I find that versions similar to the Sacred Heart of Jesus are most prevalent. To me, it looks like this is the white version of Jesus that Christians want today, regardless of what the truth might be. But is there any better guess for what Jesus might have really looked like? Is there anything more accurate? For example, Jesus could not have been white. He would have had dark skin similar to those who live in the southern Mediterranean now, olive skin you might say. Owing to the region where he was born, he would have also had an Africanus look to him. In 2001, Richard Neve, a retired medical artist from the University of Manchester, used one of 3 first-century Jewish skulls and forensic anthropology techniques to reconstruct a more plausible reference. The face that Neve constructed suggested that Jesus would have had a broad face and large nose, which differs significantly from the traditional depictions of Jesus in Renaissance art. From the Bible, the English Standard Version, 1 Corinthians chapter 11, verse 14. Does it not nature itself teach you that if a man wears long hair, it's a disgrace for him? And in Revelation chapter 1, verse 14, the hairs of his head were white, like white wool, like snow. His eyes were like flame of fire. It looks like all the Jesus imagery we've seen so far is wrong on both counts. But if you're Christian, keep the faith, knowing that Buddy Jesus is on your side.